Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Sharif Ishaq will be here, bottom of the hour, talking some Saints. Time now, talk some LSU with our guy Colin from the LSU Alumni Association, of course, former Tiger tight end, with us in studio every Tuesday. Colin, how are you, sir?
I'd be a lot better if we're 5-0.
Yeah,
but we're still
not.
here. The sun rose this morning. Another week to get better.
Yeah, they got to. They got to get better in significant ways because not a good offensive effort in the game on Saturday, and the defense, I think, got a little bit tired and didn't play to its standard because of that. In my opinion, we'll get your thoughts on all of it. But we got to start on the offensive side. You played on the offensive side, just not enough, and that's something Brian Kelly's talked about and that everyone kind of is aware of. But what do you see when you're watching them offensively?
We've talked about it every week. You got to be able to run the ball. I mean, I know it sounds so simple, and you would think we can get that done as we've gone week to week, but it just hasn't happened. We just have, whether it's no push up front, linebackers running through, no real creativity in the run game. It's hard to watch. I'm hoping we can improve, and we're going to have to, because we just can't. You can't be a one-dimensional team. A team like Ole Miss dropping 8 on us all game. They've got tight windows to throw into. It makes it a tough recipe to win football games.
It does. What is the thing that is the easiest to improve at when you talk about the running game? You mentioned creativity, you mentioned commitment to it, you mentioned knocking guys off the ball. Where can the improvement come the most quickly?
Fundamentals up front. I mean, you're going to have seams. We got plenty of guys that can run the ball. Obviously, we had Durham out that game. But we've got 5 stars behind them. That's not the issue to me. It's up front. There's plenty of plays when you watch the game where either we're not connecting on double teams, we have linebackers running through. It's just ruining those holes. If we can really clean up what we're doing up front with the front 5, making better connections, holding on blocks longer, just half a second to where we can get the running back, instead of 2 or 3 yards to 4 or 5, 6 yards, that makes a huge difference.
I don't want to sound condescending, but it's just, we'll see how it comes off. Kentucky is atrocious. They're awful. They've been terrible offensively for 3 years. They played Ole Miss this year. They ran for 175 yards. Their tailback ran for 6 yards per carry. They're going to fire their coach probably Sunday. They are awful offensively. And it's not like Arkansas, who they can't. You don't have Taylon Green. That's right. He leads the country in total offense. Nussmeier can't do the things Taylon Green does. Kentucky's quarterback is Zach Calzada, who's probably less mobile than Nussmeier. And they did that. I don't understand. I never played the game. I don't understand how Kentucky can run for 175 and LSU can run for 54. That blows my mind.
It's certainly a tough pill to swallow. And look, I think it's both sides. Obviously, we've struggled running the ball, but we're also struggling passing it a little bit. It's one thing to be one-dimensional when the other dimensional, like you talked about, is also struggling. We just become so predictable. And as a defensive scheme, look, there's no real threat in the run game. There's no threat of quarterback run, so you can really guess past most plays and still have enough guys up front to handle us. It's just made it really hard for us to get any sort of momentum going on that offensive side.
Defensively, they've been so good the first month, and Ole Miss came into the game averaging 44 a game and scored 24. Now, I've put the caveat out there because I think it's important. That 44 points per game includes blowing out Tulane and playing a team in the opener that has no chance on the field with you. But still, I mean, I think that there's something to pull from that when you consider that they scored in the 40s against Kentucky and Arkansas. So what did you see from the defense on Saturday?
Look, I'm not worried about the defense. We talked about it last week. I think we predicted 28-24. I mean, we gave it 24 points. That should be enough to win you the game against Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin is going to scheme defenses. That's what he does. That's what he's good at. So for us to give up 24, I thought the real issue was just how long the guys were out there. I mean, the first half, I think they got 50 to 20 on offensive snaps. I mean, you just can't leave your defense out there for that amount of time, and you can't keep going 3 and out on the offensive side. It just wears them out. I mean, they came off of an 18-play drive that luckily we held them to 3. We held them at the end, and then we go right back, go 3 and out, give the ball right back to them. I mean, your defense is gassed. You got to give them some sort of relief to where they can maintain. I thought they played well for the most part. Obviously, some miscues that led to big plays for us. I didn't like seeing, the last 5 minutes of the game, Ole Miss just running the clock out on us.
Yep.
You would think you'd get the ball back one more time. But for the most part, I thought our defense played good enough to win the game.
Didn't turn out that way as Ole Miss beats LSU, first loss of the season. Bye week. This is an era of 2 bye weeks. Generally speaking, it was 1 when you played. I don't know if you had a 2 bye week year, if you remember or not.
We did not.
What is the most important thing during a bye week?
2 things. 1, getting healthy. I know there's a big question mark in the air with certain players on our team and their health. I'm hoping this is a week we can get guys some rest. That's much needed. And secondly, you got to self-scout. You got to clean things up. I would love to see 3 practices this week where all we did was run the ball. We've got to get that going. It's just what it's going to take if we want to be a championship team. Look, this team, where we're at, we can go 8-4, no problem. But if you want to take this team to the next level, you're going to have to be a 2-dimensional offense.
Brian Kelly talked about this last year. I have not heard him mention it this year. He said the first bye week is about development. The second bye week is about recovery because of where it comes in the calendar. And y'all's always came that Halloween weekend before Alabama when you were playing. Do you feel like, I know that you didn't participate in a 2 bye week year, but do you feel like they're going to be really physical this week in practice because it's still, your bodies are still fairly fresh, or do you need to get off your feet?
I would prefer to get off the feet, personally. I think you take the week to, you do what you have to do. You study, self-scout, you get guys out there. Most of the time when I was here, we actually used the bye week as an opportunity to get some of the backups in and get some quality practice reps and rest the older guys. Look, we're 5 weeks in now. You're at the halfway point. You're going to have some nicks and bumps along the way. I would rather us get guys healthy this week. That to me is priority number 1.
Yeah, we've talked about Nussmeier. We don't know much about that, but certainly you've got some guys up front. Weston Davis got hurt before the game started on Saturday. You had Caden Durham sitting out of the game. West Weeks was banged up entering that game. So you've got some guys that have got to do some recuperating for sure. And so I feel like you work 3 days this week and you kind of take the weekend off. Is that generally how y'all approached it?
Yeah, that's what I'd love to see. Yeah, Monday's rest day, Tuesday, you hit it your hardest day of the week. Wednesday, Thursday kind of coast. Like I said, get some backups in, get them some quality reps at this point in the year, because as the year goes on, they're not going to really see anything. But yeah, take 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, come back Monday, ready to roll against South Carolina.
Colin Jeter's our guest, former LSU tight end, now with the LSU Alumni Association. He's here every single Tuesday. This is one you can't know, but I just want your personal experience. On the outside where I live, in Twitter and in our Bayou Ford chat and in my Twitter mentions and just on the air and in call-in shows post-game, it's pretty toxic around here right now. It's just a lot of negative energy. How do you think it is at practice? How do you think it is in the locker room? Is it completely different, or is there a feeling of that?
Look, the one thing I'll say about playing at LSU, as much speculation as there is on the outside, and there's plenty we can see, they know so much more within the building, and they know what's going on. They know how to fix it. There's more of a trust with the guys that are within the building at football ops, working to get better each week. They're going to review the tape. Look, there's plenty of things. I'm sure there's 20 plays from last game that if one guy blocks a little longer, if one guy doesn't miss a tackle here and there, the game's completely different. So that's what they're focusing on. Let's look at the positive aspect of it. Let's clean these things up and let's push. Look, we're going to have to play our butts off the back end of the year. That's what it's going to take if we want to get to where we want to go.
Do you feel like there is a need to infuse some life in the running game with either snapping it to Juwan Johnson with Durham back there, getting Michael Van Buren involved in some read option game, doing something where the guy that you snap it to can help run the ball?
I wouldn't mind seeing some direct snaps here and there. We get creative here. We have we'll get Brown in the backfield or we'll motion him back, give him the ball every now and then. We again still run those quick screens as kind of an extension of the run game. To me, it really comes down to fundamentals, and we're just going to have to get it figured out. There's no beating around the bush. You have to maintain blocks up front. Running backs have to hit the seams they're aiming for. That's it. You have to have target lines. You have to have combos that work up to the second level. You have to maintain blocks. That's the difference in going from 3 yards and being 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7 to 2nd and 4, where we have opportunities to go run, pass. You can kind of mix it up a little bit more from there.
This is along the same lines as the question I just asked you, but it's phrased a little bit differently. This is a team that very openly talked about competing for a national championship. I heard Nussmeier talk about it, heard Brian Kelly talk about it. Bo Bordelon mentioned it to us a couple of weeks ago, so did Josh Thompson. This is something they're very open about. And when you have the struggles that they've had offensively and now it's cost you a loss, Like, how do you think the reaction is to that when your goals are so explicitly stated? Like, I don't worry about Mississippi State responding to their loss last week. Like, nobody in that building thought they were winning a national championship. They played Tennessee into overtime. Like, lost the game. Back at it next week. I don't have any problem seeing them moving forward, but it could be a little jarring when you've got goals that are so high.
Yeah. And look, that's the pressure of being an LSU Tiger. I mean, the fans, the coaches, sports staff, everybody expects us to be playing for a national championship every year. That just is what it is. And the players understand that, and they've just got to be able to move forward. Like I said, you can't – we could sit here – we're 4-1. We can complain about this Ole Miss game. We can complain about the running game, all that kind of stuff. You can either wallow in it and go 8-4 as the year goes on, or you can take this bye week to really make steps in the right direction and come out and beat the brakes off of South Carolina and get your season back on track. That's what I expect to see. That's what I hope to see. That's what I think this team can be. We just got to get healthy, and we got to do those little things right to kind of take our offense to the next level. My experience in doing interviews with players, they don't think about almost anything like fans do. And so fans get, doom and gloom, and these guys are just like, well, when's practice? Decided to go out there with my friends, and oh man, 2 weeks we get to go out to Tiger Stadium and play SEC Saturday night. Let's go. So I'm with you. I expect to see that as well. Tell us about the Alumni Association. Well, shoot, man. All's good at the Alumni. We've got a few things going on in October. We've got Football Friday coming up against South Carolina. Great opportunity. Come by, here's some fun stories. There's rumors there may be an old Australian punter showing up. Oh! Beyond that, we've got Tiger Nation Challenge. That's our big fundraising week to kind of get our operations going. I do want to mention we've got the business network going at the Alumni Association, and it's been great so far. And I had a great review sent to me by one of our members the other day. I'll keep it short and sweet. LSU Alumni Business Network has created real measurable growth in my business, and it all starts with Tigers helping Tigers. And I just can't say how much that means to us, and just proof in the pudding of we want businesses that support LSU, alums of LSU, to come together, work with each other, and expand your individual business from there. Feed off of the passion of the purple and gold in LSU. And that was just such a great example. I'm so glad Kyle Dewey at Mortgage Financial Services gave us that shout out. That's awesome. Y'all are doing fantastic work. I'm fired up for next week's Football Friday, but we'll talk to you before then, previewing LSU in South Carolina a week from today. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, thanks for having me. That's Colin Jeter, former Tiger, now with the LSU Alumni Association. We'll step aside, come back. I want to talk about the 6 SEC games that LSU has left. I'll rank them toughest to the easiest when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Daryl May, Trusty Properties, that's a name you can trust. If you're looking for a plot of land to make your new hunting camp, Daryl May at Trusty Properties can help you out with that. If you're looking for some land for agriculture, Daryl May can help you out with that. If you're looking for land for a second home or just a primary residence outside the hustle and bustle of the city, Daryl May at Trusty Properties can help you out with all of that. Give him a call, 225-268-6915. Again, that's 225-268-6915. Whether you're looking for 30 acres, 300 acres, whether you're looking in Louisiana, Point Capee, West Feliciana, East Feliciana, or up in Mississippi, up to Woodville, up in Natchez, he can help you out with that. Just give Daryl a call. He's a lifelong Baton Rouge resident, moved up to St. Francisville. He's got all the hottest listings when it comes to land around Louisiana and Mississippi. It's Daryl May of Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Saints with Sharif Ishak coming up here in about 12 minutes. Let's dive further in the LSU conversation. I did an exercise on LouisianaSports.net. Did this same thing last year with 5 games left, but LSU's got 6 league games to go. You've got a win against Florida. You lost at Ole Miss. You got 3 home games, 3 road games. Outside of the game against Western Kentucky, I think LSU will be able to handle themselves against the Hilltoppers. So I ranked them from the most difficult of those to the most winnable of those. And I want to kind of dive into that and give my reasons why I think that, and it gives you kind of an outlook on what this season's going to look like. Because now we got a month of data on all these teams and kind of what they are and what they aren't. And we understand like what LSU's best and worst matchup is. Now, we know that a team like Clemson, a team like Florida, that's an advantageous matchup for LSU because those offenses are really going to struggle to score against LSU. LSU's offense doesn't have to do as much to win. We know that a team like Ole Miss with a good offense and a lesser defense, that's not a great matchup for LSU because LSU's offense is not built to take advantage of the poor defense, and the other team's offense can score enough to outpace LSU. So you start with Alabama, I think is the toughest game on the schedule. It's in Tuscaloosa, and I think this Alabama team has really found something with Ty Simpson over the last 3 weeks. He threw for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns against Georgia. And also, most of Georgia's success against the Alabama defense was on the ground. Florida State against Alabama's defense ran for 230 yards, and Castellanos did a lot of that, and we know that Nussmeier can't do it. LSU can't attempt to replicate what Georgia and Florida State did to have some success against Alabama because LSU can't run the ball. So to me, this is clearly the most difficult game on LSU's schedule. You think about the venue, think about the other team, the strengths and the weaknesses. I think that's a bad matchup for LSU in Tuscaloosa. Number 5 on this list, second toughest game, I still think is at Oklahoma. Brent Venables' defense is very, very good. They're second in the SEC in total defense, just 207 yards per game, second in the league in sacks, and they are the best third down defense in the nation by a pretty wide margin. When I look at this LSU offense and I look at that Oklahoma defense on the road, like that doesn't sound good to me. And on the other side, John Mateer, before he got hurt, second in the country in total offense, 351 yards per game. You figure Oklahoma will move it a little bit, and against a dominant defense that Oklahoma is playing at this point, just doesn't feel like LSU's offense matches up great in that one. So I think it's the second most difficult game for LSU. I think the third most difficult game for LSU is actually at home, and that's Texas A&M. Aggies 4-0 for the first time since 2018, and I think they've won in 2 different ways. A&M went to South Bend and won a shootout. Marcel Reed threw for 360 yards, and they topped 40 points in that game on the road. Then they came back home to Kyle Field, and they held Auburn to 177 yards and only 10 points. So that's I think, to me, that shows a team that can win in 2 different ways. While it's a little bit inconsistent, the offense wasn't very good against Auburn, the defense wasn't very good against Notre Dame, they've shown they can do both. They've got both pitches in the arsenal. So I would think this was a terrible matchup for LSU in College Station. Bring that game into Tiger Stadium with LSU's defense. I still feel pretty good about the way that LSU can handle itself in that game, but I do think it is the third most difficult game that LSU's got on the schedule thus far. Then you got the other road game that I've got as the fourth most difficult game, and that's Vanderbilt. Now, this one is interesting. Vanderbilt's 5-0. They beat Virginia Tech. They beat South Carolina. Both those games were on the road in Blacksburg and in Columbia. But their next 4 games are Alabama, LSU, Missouri, and Texas. The Bama and Texas games are on the road. Diego Pavia, second in the SEC. Well, the Vanderbilt offense is second in the SEC in scoring. They're scoring 49 points per game. And so that would suggest that LSU might have a hard time holding Vanderbilt to 14, 17 points. They could, but Pavia and that Vanderbilt team are humming at a pretty efficient clip right now. We'll see what they do against Alabama. That's probably a better indicator of what they do against LSU as opposed to what they did against Utah State. But they're scoring, and their quarterback's veteran, and he wants to make some plays. And I feel like they're probably going to score 20 points on LSU, 24 points on LSU. Now you've got to come up with that on the other side, which I think LSU can do. But I just feel like beating Vanderbilt 20-10, 20-17 is going to be a hard thing to do the way that they're playing offense. So I've got that as the number 4 easiest game. Now I've got the 2 home games that I think are the easiest for LSU, the most winnable. Second on that list is South Carolina. That's next up on the schedule. South Carolina got drilled by Vanderbilt 31-7, and again, Lenore Sellers left with a concussion. And then Missouri beat South Carolina 29-20 a week later. South Carolina got right a little bit. They beat Kentucky 35-13, but you're still talking about a South Carolina team right now that ranks last in the SEC in total offense. They're only better than Florida in scoring offense. So they're one of the worst offenses in the SEC right now. That plays into LSU's hands. That's going to be a talking point you hear me mention a lot next week when we're getting ready for the South Carolina game. They're not playing well on offense. When you pair that with LSU's defense, the way that defense is playing, that becomes a very favorable matchup for LSU with South Carolina. So I like that one in Tiger Stadium next week at night for LSU. And then I think the most winnable game on LSU's schedule moving forward is actually Arkansas. I could see it being flipped, but I'm going to give South Carolina a little bit of a pass on the Sellers game against Vanderbilt where he got hurt. I look at Arkansas. That's a team that just fired its coach. That's a team with a woeful defense and a decent offense. Now, the offense wasn't good against Notre Dame, and the offense turned the ball over against Memphis and Ole Miss. There's a talent discrepancy between LSU and Arkansas that's significant. That game is at home. I could listen to you tell me to flip South Carolina and Arkansas. I still probably trust South Carolina more than Arkansas, and Arkansas is a different team now that they've ditched their entire defensive staff and Bobby Petrino is calling the shots. But listen to these numbers. Arkansas is 118th in the country in total defense, 113th in scoring defense, and those numbers become even more jarring, 118th and 113th, when you realize in the first 2 weeks of the season, they allowed 7 points to Alabama A&M and 14 to Arkansas State. So you had held those two teams to 21 total points in 2 weeks, and then against Ole Miss, Memphis, and Notre Dame, you allowed 1,605 yards and 129 points in 3 weeks. That's why you fired your coach. And Taylor Green still leads the nation in total offense, so that's a bit of an issue for LSU because he should be able to provide something on the offensive side. But I just think Arkansas is so bad on defense and that their program is going to be in such bad shape by the time they get here, having lost a bunch of games in a row and their coach being fired and folks looking at the transfer portal and looking at potential red shirts if you hadn't played 4 games. I just feel like Arkansas is going to show up in Baton Rouge in a bad way. So I've got that as the easiest game left on LSU schedule in league play. Put those in order again. Arkansas easiest, then South Carolina, road trip to Vanderbilt 3rd, Texas A&M at home 4th, at Oklahoma 5th, and then at Alabama, the most difficult game remaining on LSU's schedule. That's the way I see it at this point in any event. So you can read more about why. I've got some more statistics, a little bit more data there at LouisianaSports.net. You can always, as always, read that for free. Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for that land of your dreams to get that hunting property or that secondary home. Daryl May can help you out with it. I'll give you his phone number as I do every single Tuesday. 225-268-6915. Daryl May with Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust. All right, we will step aside when we come back. Sharif Ishak, WDSU, will be with us talking Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is that website. But I invite you to go see them. They're on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. 3 big full bays with those golf simulators inside. They got comfortable seating there. They've got a television, cold beer, wine, and you can do whatever you'd like from a golf perspective in there. You want to work on your game? You can do it on the driving range setting of the simulator. You want to just go hang out, socialize, just kill some time, enjoying some fellowship with some friends? You can do that at Swing Easy Golf Club as well. Put on the simulator any number of famous golf courses around the world right there at the click of a button. Go see them. New concept here in Baton Rouge for golfers of all skill levels. You're looking to work on your game or hang out at Segan and Perkins at Swing Easy Golf Club. Online, swingeasygcbr.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trusty Properties.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up. Failure happens to us all, but this is how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is when you get back up when you fall. You better get up. You gotta get up. You gotta get up. I need you to get up. Up.
All right, chugging along here. Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties. That's a name you can trust. Looking for land, even a secondary home, base St. Louis condominium. past Christian, Mississippi, if that's something you've always thought about but never known really how to explore that, Daryl May can help you out there. He's with Trusty Properties. Again, that's a name you can trust. A lot of Major League Baseball playoff action ongoing. The Padres have struck first against the Cubs. Couple of hits for Padres, pair of doubles, net the first run, but Matthew Boyd dances out of it after that. So 1-0 Padres, bottom of 2. Tigers lead the Guardians 2-1, looking to add on to their lead in the top of the 8th inning. They've got a pair of men on and 2 out there in the top of the 8th from Cleveland. So a lot of good baseball, a lot of low-scoring baseball. As you'd expect, there's still much more to come this evening. You'll have the Reds and Dodgers tonight, as well as the Yankees and Red Sox. So full day Major League Baseball playoff action. I'm hopeful Cubbies can find some bats here in a hurry, because as we talked about at the end of the first hour, the Padres bullpen is a bit of a problem if the Cubs get there. So right now, 1-0, not the end of the world, but we gotta get a run here off of Pavetta if we can here moving forward. Having trouble linking up with Sharif down there in New Orleans. The phone line's giving us a little bit of an issue. So I talked a little bit about the New Orleans Saints back in the first hour about Spencer Rattler and like how the leash, in my opinion, needs to be shortening. And that is, to me, based on his track record, his age, the production or lack thereof that you've seen, and the fact that there's someone right there waiting in the wings. If Spencer Rattler were a first round pick, a first overall pick, then I would have no interest in pushing him off to the side 10 starts in, a year and a half in, however you want to categorize that. But he's not. The guy that was drafted higher is right there behind him, and there's just not a lot there that's showing immense growth. I told you in the game against San Francisco that I liked some of the things that I saw. I didn't see much progression from that in the game at Seattle, which was basically a wash, and then in the game at Buffalo, which was a competitive game, and one that you feel like if your game plan to go to Buffalo is to kind of dink and dunk it around, you're going to get beat by Josh Allen. Like, let's be honest. You're not going to score enough points against the Bills with Josh Allen playing quarterback if you're content to just kind of try to play ball control and dump it over here, dump it over there, run the ball, which they got the running game going. You got to try to make some plays. And I just don't sense that the Saints are making an effort to make plays. Maybe that's a vanilla offensive scheme. Maybe it's just Rattler's hesitancy to try to get the ball down the field. That's something I can't speak to directly right now. I don't know. But I would be very, very adamant in the next 2 weeks that that's got to change moving forward. We can't move forward with a quarterback who's not going to try to make plays down the field. And the Saints do that as poorly as anybody in the NFL right now. So I'm essentially scrapping last year. I'm essentially saying I don't care about those starts where your offensive line was a complete mess and the organization at the top of the coaching staff was a complete mess, and you had injury to Kamara and injury to Shaheed and an injury to Olave and injury to Taysom Hill, and there just wasn't much there to critique from or to build off of. You were trying to survive week to week. This is a bad Saints team, but it's a team full of professional starters. You've got guys healthy. Olave's healthy. Shaheed's healthy. Juwan Johnson's healthy. Kamara's healthy. McCoy's healthy. Banks, Fuaga, kind of healthy. Banks is healthy. You've got your nuts and bolts here. So let's start seeing some stuff. And if you want to tell me, well, it's tough to do against Buffalo, it's tough to do at Seattle, it's tough to do in the first game of the season, okay, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. But these next two, the Giants are bad, the Patriots are bad. It's time to see something. And so I think that's what makes this interesting for us. I've said this a number of times, and I think there are a lot of people in South Louisiana that agree with this. The Saints have not been super interesting on the football field the last full year. Since week 3 of last year, after the incredible performances in the first 2 weeks, the Saints have been pretty boring. Now, it's interesting to fire a coach. It's interesting to hire a new coach. It's interesting to put together a staff. It's interesting to draft a quarterback in the second round for the first time in that high in 50 years. There are some interesting things off the field that have happened. On the field, not real interesting. You're aging. You're not very good. You lose a lot of games. It's just not super interesting. But when you start to think of it through the lens of, okay, either this guy's going to spread his wings and fly as our quarterback, or we're going to the guy that we took in the second round, that's when you start to kind of look around and go, okay, that is interesting. And to me, I think we're there. I understand that when you look at the schedule, it would sound a little ridiculous to toss Tyler Shuck into a 3 road games in 4 weeks type situation. Because if you were to give Rattler the 2 games at home with the Giants and Patriots, then you would then go on the road to Chicago and toss a rookie on the road for his first start. Not ideal. And then you would come back for Tampa, who's the best team in your division. Then you go to the Rams, which could be a disaster. And then you play at the Panthers. So that's 3 of 4 on the road in that spot. The bye is after that. But I think it's time to throw the 26-year-old out there, even on the road, if you're talking about Rattler not producing the next 2 weeks. Keep in mind, the Bears defense just got annihilated in week 2 of this season. So it's not a great unit defensively. It's Dennis Allen's crew. They're not playing awesome. They've won their last 2 games, but again, against subpar competition. So to me, I'm at that point. I'm ready to see him sink or swim, toss him in the deep end. That's Rattler I'm talking about, and see what he can do. Beck, you've heard me, kind of go on about this for 2 different segments now, talking about the Saints. Like, you've got more skin invested in that to me. Like, am I being reasonable with the timeline for Spencer Rattler? Even if they win a game, if you win a game 13-6 because the other team's offense is atrocious, I still wouldn't want to see it. They need to score 28 points in one of these games.
Yeah, I don't see a reason for being conservative with Spencer Rattler other than at this point, you're 4 games in. Maybe you're trying to get him just, easy throws and help him just become more confident in his ability to be a starter in the NFL. But at this point, you're 0-4. What do you really have to lose? I would agree. I mean, you need to open the offense up. Let him. I mean, you have Rashid Shaheed, one of the fastest guys in the NFL. I don't think they've really targeted him down the field very often. It hasn't been much. It hasn't been nearly as much as they did with Derek Carr. So stretch him out. Stretch the field. You got Brandon Cooks too. He's older, but he's still fast. He's still got speed. He can burn people. So I would agree, man. They need to let Rattler go a little bit. Make it a little bit less conservative in terms of the approach on offense. And if he kind of just still plays that conservative style and is just average for the next few weeks, and if you're at 0-6, I think at that point let's throw Tyler Shuck out there. The season's over. It probably is already right now, but let's see what these guys can do with a little bit more of an aggressive approach on offense, because you have to be more aggressive because the defense is playing okay, but they're not going to keep you in games.
As I mentioned in the first hour, the Saints are last in the NFL in 20-plus yard passing plays. They've only got 4 on the season. They do not have a 40-yard pass on the season through a month. These are anemic numbers, and I'm okay with getting Spencer Rattler, accustomed to the Kellen Moore offense on the field. And I wasn't suggesting that he come out of it just smoking right out of the gate. But at a certain point, you're 0-10, and you've got some of these statistics that are the worst in the NFL. What are we waiting on? I don't have anything else to wait on. So I think it's a big week for Spencer Rattler. I think it's a big week next week for Spencer Rattler, and I'll be here kind of calling for a change if things don't drastically improve and get a little bit more explosive against 2 of the worst defenses in the National Football League. So bummer that we couldn't connect with Sharif. Thankfully for me, I'll get to connect with Sharif tonight. We're going to do a little interview this evening, talk a little LSU during the bye week, but our phone lines wouldn't cooperate with us, so we'll have to do that on Sharif's time, not our time here. MLB playoff action is underway, as I mentioned. I got the Guardians and Tigers. What a disaster for the Guardians. Had the tying run on third with nobody out. Ground ball back to the mound, and the runner just gets caught in no man's land. You either got to go or you got to not go, and he did both and then stopped halfway and was tagged out. That's going to be a brutal brutal out there for Cleveland as they've now only got 4 outs left in game 1. Cubs and Padres. Padres lead 1-0 after 2 innings. The Cubs strike out every time I look up. I've seen them strike out. So that's not
Nico
super
got a hit, Hunt.
He did, but everybody else has struck out. So
Hey, Michael Busch hit a fly out to center, I think.
He did. But
So not everybody.
PCA struck out.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Seiya struck out.
Happ struck out.
It's not great.
Kelly struck out.
We'll come back and close things out on this Tuesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. You'll never strike out with Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Luxury brand at a reasonable price. That is the model at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's got America's best warranty. Comes with 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. 3 years, complimentary valet maintenance. You cannot beat that. Also, when you're thinking about roadside assistance, you get 24/7 enhanced roadside assistance, 5 years, no matter how many miles are on that car. These are just some of the perks that come with their incredible line of vehicles. Everything is first class over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. The facility is first class. The staff is first class. The line of vehicles is first class. Also, you're talking about the warranty is best in the game. So check them out. Airline at Piku. Online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May of Trustee Properties. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May at Trustee Properties.
.1045 ESPN Baton Rouge, along with First American Bank and Trust, are teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to the spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website at 1045ESPN.com. Today is the last day, so please go over there to 1045ESPN.com. Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy.
Awesome stuff here from the team at Guarantee with Folds of Honor. Can get involved. Surely appreciate if you do. I was dead wrong in the last segment. It was the 9th inning, not the 8th inning.
Yep.
My eyes, not good.
Game over.
And really the only time I can really tell my eyes are terrible is the scoreboard on TV.
Yes.
I feel like I see the world reasonably well. I don't notice that I have issues seeing scoreboard numbers.
Small things.
Yeah, it's bad. But like I can read all this fine on this paper in front of me.
But it's right in front of you. It's not too far away.
It's bad looking up there. But Tarek Skubal was awesome. Worked into the 8th inning, had 14 strikeouts against Cleveland. Had to figure that this is one that the Tigers were going to win and really had to win with Skubal on the mound. Cleveland being at home. The next two, no Skubal. They've got a chance to get back in that one. That's kind of the way I feel about the Cubs today. If the Cubs win today, San Diego's cooked. They've got Cease and Yu Darvish, who are terrible. And the Cubs should be able to win one of the two at home. If the Cubs lose today, I'll still feel like they've got a shot, unless they burn their A relievers, in which case that would be a disaster. So I think that the Cubs will be okay if they lose today. I think the Guardians are okay losing today. You'd like to win the first one at home, but the road teams with their aces on the mound, I think, have a lot of pressure on them. Can't wait tonight to check out the Yankees and Red Sox. And Hunter Green pitching for the Reds against, I think, Blake Snell for the Dodgers.
Yep.
That should be pretty salty as well.
Man, that'd be nice if the Reds could get in there and knock around the Dodgers. That would be something. Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine if the Reds
The
knocked
thing
them
is
off?
that there won't be a lot of knocking around in that series because the Reds have elite pitching.
They have no
can't
hitting.
hit worth a flip,
No,
but they
can't.
can pitch like crazy. So we'll see. I'm curious to watch all of it this evening. I'm going to miss a lot of this Cubs game as far as watching because I've got to go take Myers to get a haircut. But other than that,
He probably needs one, though, honestly. Last time I saw his hair, it was like a mop.
yeah, she's more concerned about the length of the hair for family pictures for the bye weekend
the
and
bye weekend photos.
the Halloween weekend.
Yep.
So this is the time where apparently if they get it, she gets it cut, it'll look the best. 4 weeks
Yes,
from now.
it's all a science hunt.
I have no say in any of that whatsoever. I just am told.
I'm surprised
to
by
drive
that.
the car.
I figured you would have a very big say and very big opinion about that hunt.
No, I have no opinion.
Okay.
My opinion is I'd rather watch the Cubs. But
yeah.
that opinion was not given
Invalid.
any consideration whatsoever.
Invalidated.
Let's play Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. Still warm out there. Still a chance to get out to the pool, get out to the lake, get out on the golf course, get out on the water, do some fishing, whatever the case may be. Looking for a light beer? Flight by Yingling should be your first pickup. Just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, delicious flavor that you're looking for from a light beer. Check it out, Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All right, first one. Cubs get it done, Hunt. Take it or leave it.
I need more details to that.
They're going to win today.
Leave it.
Wow.
Leave it alone.
They're already 2 innings in.
You have little faith.
I'm looking at, they're losing already, and no one's going to score off the Padres bullpen. I'm told that it's impossible. So
You're told.
That's what the everyone who watches the Padres all the time says. I listened to 4 podcasts between yesterday and this morning. So you have to get a lead, and they don't have a lead. They're in fact losing. And Pivetta looks very, very good.
Michael Busch is about to hit a home run. Calling it right now.
That would be awesome if he did do that. But right now you've got nothing, and you're almost through 3 innings. So it's a bad deal.
We're good. They're going to win. I already showed you the photo. We got Hazel in the onesie. She looks great. She's smiling, which she doesn't even do that much right now. She's only 7 weeks old.
Is there any indication that she was in the onesie when they got the 2 hits that scored the run?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, Hunt. She put the onesie on, and I got the photos as soon as Matthew Boyd got the 2 outs he needed to get out of the jam. Okay?
That was good.
So that was good. So that's what we're looking at here. Now the Cubs need to get a hit. Michael Busch is getting a home run, and then the Cubs are going to win 2-1.
Michael Busch, very good player.
Very good. Needs to be starting more. Let him hit against lefties. I don't care about the splits.
Well, the Padres don't have any lefties, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's good. All right, last one real quick. Sauce Gardner, cornerback for the Jets, said after the game that referees are harder on him because the Jets are a losing team. He said, I watch football all the time, and I just feel like, I don't know if this is wrong to say, but I think I get called for more stuff based off of us not winning, said Sauce Gardner, who, of course, just signed a really massive extension for the Jets. But Sauce getting picked on by the refs. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone.
But I did hear a humorous anecdote from one of the folks at Barstool. There were a significant amount of New Yorkers who decided to fly down to Miami to watch the Mets finish their season against the Marlins and then the Jets play the Dolphins. You know, a lot of the New York fans, you're either a Yankees, Giants, Knicks, or you're Nets, Mets, Jets.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it generally goes. So the Nets, Mets, Jets crew flew down, watched the Mets choke on a chicken bone against the Marlins and finish their season missing the playoff with the second highest payroll in baseball, and then watch the Jets lose to the hapless Dolphins.
Man, what a terrible.
I hope the weather
sad
was good.
Existence.
Hope they were able to get some seafood down there, Joe's Stone Crab, some key lime pie, something down there.
Michael Busch just got out to first.
Their teams were not winning a lot, and that's a long way to go to watch your teams just choke.
I think you're right, huh? I think they're going to lose.
Oh, well, that was quick.
Yeah, well, Michael Busch just fouled to first. He didn't hit a home run, so
that was we needed this.
We needed
this one exact player to hit a home run.
We needed that in that moment.
There's 8 other guys that can hit a home run.
Well, I would not suggest that Nico Horner is going to hit a home run.
He could.
Yeah, he
hit
could.
this year 3,
Is
4?
the wind blowing out?
No, it's not.
He hit like
fairly neutral.
He hit like 4 at Minute Maid Park, which has the shortest porch in left field in the majors.
Not Minute Maid Park anymore.
That's true.
Name that park.
Dakin or something. Dakin Park.
It's always the juice box.
Yeah, it's the juice box.
There's some that it's just like when they tried to make Florida's arena like Exact Tech Center or something. No, it's the O-Dome.
It's the O-Dome.
I'm just not going to change that. I very rarely give Auburn Arena Neville Arena now that somebody put it.
The Crypto.com
arena.
God,
yeah, I'm just not gonna do that. Are there any others that meet that criteria? There are some name changes that I fully embrace, like Kroger Field, because it's just
the Superdome. Obviously, I mean, it doesn't matter what the sponsor is.
I just call that the
Superdome. It's the dome.
I did have to look because they got the college football playoff in a couple years.
Yeah, 28.
I had to look and see if there's an apostrophe in Caesars. There's not.
There's not.
Just straight on through the S.
Okay. 2028. Let's see what.
The more you know.
Yeah, who's going to be the quarterback for LSU in 2028? No, there's no telling.
I mean,
no
somebody
chance.
that's currently at Wisconsin or something.
Maybe.
Probably.
Will Brian
All right.
Kelly be coaching LSU?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, probably so.
All right. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of Trusty Properties, a name you can trust. Looking for land, Mississippi or Louisiana, Daryl May can help you out with all of that. All right, that's it for us. Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints are our specific team YouTube channels. A lot of LSU talk today. Not a lot of it framed very positive. A lot of Saints talk. Not a lot of that framed very positively either. We got to get to something positive towards the end of the week. Matt's going to drive you home next one after further review. I'm going to go watch the Cubs. Hopefully they score some runs. We'll see. See y'all tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.